searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair, but those eyes so bright.
All right, here we are back in the studio for another week of Scheananigans. Got my girl Kiki here and one of Janet's flying monkeys, Jared. How we doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. How about you, Kiki?
I'm doing great.
Are you guys good as gold?
Good as gold. I'm even wearing I'm wearing every piece of gold.
She got the memo. Okay.
A little top, a little tad of gold for you.
I like it. So last week we talked about your birthday a little bit on the pod, but now that you're here, I want to go into it a little more because how was it? Was it haunting for you or was that just Janet?
I did not have any haunting experience until the next morning when I heard we were at the Chateau Marmont, of course, and I heard an entire breakfast happening downstairs. And then I opened my door to find an empty bungalow. And so I was like, wait a minute, maybe this place is haunted.
Wait, what?
So we stayed with our friends, Chris and Cam,
right?
The Cotrini skincare guys, Sam and Sperm. And Jana and Jason had a room. It was a 3-bedroom bungalow. And Jana, I guess, bounced because her lights
4 a.m.
4 a.m. bounced. And then the Cotrini guys had to hit the road early. So, and I kind of remember that. It was a little murky, but they were like, hey, we're not going to be here when you wake up, likely. So I kind of wake up in this daze and I'm hearing cluttering and laughter. And it's a rainy day. So I thought, so it's like not poolside at the chateau. Like there's no one dining out there. So I'm like, oh my God, they're having breakfast without me. Like, what's going on? So I open the door. Nothing. Dead silence.
What?
So then I go downstairs and then I'm like, where the fuck is everybody? So I call Janet and she's fast asleep back at her house, I guess, escaping the ghosts. And then I call Chris and Cam and they're like, oh, we're on the road. We left like an hour ago. So I was like, okay. And then I tried to go back to sleep, but then I just had this like chills. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, just this
right.
Weird, and like, could it have been like the 30 martinis I had? Maybe
Perhaps.
that was like, giving me the shakes. But
We were
yeah, I
on
felt
one.
an evil presence. I felt, I don't know if it's evil, but then I saw this TikTok girl say, like, when I say the chateau, she said she got pulled down on her pillow and all this stuff. But she said she had just this feeling, like this weight on her heart. And that's how I felt. And so then I didn't go
hell no.
I didn't order breakfast. They were like, stay, enjoy the suite, like enjoy all of it. I was like out of there, pulled up the Nissan from valet and said, I am out of here.
Okay,
Yeah.
but low-key, why does that make me want to stay there a little bit more?
I don't know. I think it's fully haunted.
It's like there's like some haunted places. So my friend Cece, she used to live next door to the Cecil Hotel, which is like
Yes,
the haunted place.
that one.
But even her apartment building, I don't know if this is fact, so I haven't confirmed this, but she said there's one floor, I don't know if it was the 5th or 6th floor in her building, where supposedly, allegedly, you have to sign an additional waiver because there was like hauntings. People have said there was like ghosts and hauntings. So if you move into that floor, allegedly, you have to sign an additional waiver. I don't know if that's true.
That's crazy.
It probably is because people will break their lease and just say like, I can't stay here,
Also, speaking of floors in hotel rooms, you know how most hotels skip floor 13?
Yeah.
When you're on 14, you're really on 13, which is because the number's not there on the elevator. But when we were at the Standard recently in New York, meatpacking area, I stayed on the 13th floor.
Oh, really?
It was number 13. Like, that was my room.
Okay.
So I'm like, some hotels do it, some don't.
Yeah, I mean, I like the number 13.
Me too.
I do
It's a
too.
lucky
My
number
mom's
for
birthday
me.
is the
Me
13th.
too. Yeah.
And when it's on
So-
Friday, we're like, it's a lucky number.
My
Mhm.
transplant when I was sick back in 2020 was Friday the 13th. That's like my transplant
See?
rebirth
It's a
day.
good
So
one.
I
Yeah.
think it's a good number. I'm not scared of it.
I agree.
But also, we're a little like in this climate. I think superstition's like out the door. Like we got bigger fish to fry than the number 13 on a hotel floor.
No
Yeah.
shit.
But yeah, I don't find it scary. But I did find that very bizarre.
Yeah.
The clattering and thinking breakfast was being served, and then just opening up and the door and just a dead silent 2-story bungalow to myself, and I was like,
That's creepy.
Look, Casper just wanted to celebrate your birthday with you, okay? It's pretty iconic if you ask me. What about Christmas Village? What are the updates on that? Future plans?
So Christmas Village
Is it still up?
It's been taken down.
Okay.
It's been replaced. My
Easter
I
Village?
came home, so I still live with my parents right now, and I came home and it was taken down. They said we could not.
They took it down for
Yes,
you?
they took it down for me because they knew it, because I kept saying, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. So, I love my Christmas Village.
That is a mom move.
And
Not going to do it.
So
I'll
wait,
do
you
it for
had
you.
it up
You didn't do
till
it fast
April?
enough.
Till the end of March.
Okay.
Yeah. So just recently.
Okay.
Yeah, they took it down. Probably, actually, I think when we were away for my birthday. I think they were
they're
just like, we
this
got to
is
get
our
this out the window.
opportunity. Take this
But I'm
shit
so
down.
into it. It's like, I love having niche hobbies. I was kind of, someone asked me, like, I went on this random blind date and the guy's like, what's your hobbies? What's your hobbies? And he's like, I go to a bowling league like once a week. And I was like, okay, well, that's not me. Like, and then I realized it's like, my whole life's kind of a hobby, but I was like, maybe I need like one niche hobby. And so then I decided to be mayor of my Titty City village.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Love that for you.
I'm looking for more. I actually talked to Mark about his aunt. I think he showed me a video of his aunt's like iconic village that's up all year round. So it really inspired me to like look for pieces that are not just Christmassy. So
Okay.
yeah, so I might do like a beach village, but right now my focus is on getting as many discounts because Facebook Marketplace. Oh my God, they have so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is important stuff by the way that we're talking about.
It is. I want to bring Summer over when you set the village back up
I would
because she's
love
so
that.
into Christmas and she's literally already counting down the days. I felt so bad yesterday morning. She wanted to watch the Elf story. She's just sitting there and she's like, Mommy, I really miss my Elfie. And I'm like, she's like, but when is he going to come back? I'm like, honey, we're in April. We got until December. And she's like, I'm like, and that's what makes me feel the guilt about like lying to her. And then the Easter bunny she's asking questions about. And she's like, but wait, remembering my cousin Curtis had dressed up as the Easter bunny last year. And this year he can't do it again because the back, you could see like his neck tattoos. So I'm like, we got to keep you in the corner or something, But I also need to make sure that when she's watching my YouTube vlogs, it doesn't just go into the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to do that as I'm talking about this. But so she was asking about the Easter bunny. I'm going to take her to the Grove to see the Easter bunny. And then she was saying, oh, well, he doesn't come when I'm asleep because sometimes he's there when I'm awake. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was like, well, here's the thing. So the Easter bunny, drops off the basket and hides the eggs when you're asleep. And then when you're awake, sometimes, if he has time, he'll come back and visit. But it's just like these stories you got to keep up with.
There's a lot of lies to keep track of as a parent.
I know. And I want to keep the magic alive, but I feel so guilty because she's also so smart.
Yeah.
Is a smart cookie.
Mhm.
Yeah. She's saying all of the planets right now in order. She blew Allie's mind. Allie came over. We did a little girl sleepover Friday night because Brock was out of town on a bachelor party. So I just had a couple girlfriends over and then Allie ended up staying. And Summer fell asleep before us, obviously. And then Allie left early. And in the morning, I told Summer, she was like, oh, I wanted to have a sleepover. I go, well, we did. Allie stayed over and she was so excited, even though she wasn't like there for that part of it. But I wanted her to tell Allie all of the planets. And she was like, Scheana, did you know I was going to die? And I was like, I had just posted the podcast clip talking about, when your friends who don't have kids come and hang out with your kids. And so Allie texted me that morning when she saw it and she was like, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, actually, I wanted to have a girls' night. And Summer stayed up way past her bedtime. I just put her right straight in my bed that night so Brock couldn't check the cameras to get her what the bedtime was.
Yeah, I love it. So wait, is Pluto still no longer a planet?
It's not a planet, but it's a dwarf planet.
Okay.
And so when she's saying it, she ends with Pluto and it's cute and whatever. But apparently in 2004, it was declared not a planet anymore. And I'm like, well, I was like pretty much out of school by then. I was halfway through college.
Yeah.
So Pluto was a planet my whole life.
Yeah.
And if she wants to say it's a planet, whatever, it's a planet.
It's such a random abstract thing. We're just like, never mind Pluto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Forget
right?
you.
Yeah.
I know, but
Poor
it's a
Pluto.
dwarf planet. So it is a planet, but it's not a, I don't know.
Sometimes I think they just make up things just to start talking about stuff.
Right?
Yeah. There's only so
Anyway.
much space they can look at.
I mean, it's infinite.
I know.
Ugh.
Yeah, she knows which planet has lava on it, which one's the blue one, which one's the red
Oh
one.
wait,
Like,
I didn't even realize
it's
that there were
wild.
ones
Yeah,
that have
Venus
lava.
has lava.
Oh, I thought that was the blue one.
Neptune.
Oh, maybe
And
that's
does
what the
their
King
lava
of
look
Sea-
like our lava?
Yeah, it's like lava.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We need
Wild.
a rocket scientist up in here.
I know,
I know.
Katy
right?
Perry before she goes to Blue Origin.
Gail King. Come on.
Raquel's new boyfriend.
Is he a rocket scientist?
That's what I read.
Oh.
No, he's a rock scientist. He's a geologist or something.
He's studying Raquel. Sorry. Okay, that was. I apologize.
All right. Well, a lot has gone down this week. The White Lotus finale. Do y'all watch?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
That
So
was tough.
I have some thoughts on the 1 minute that I did watch. I need to catch up by now. We finally got to see footage of Kenya's event on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Did you see that?
I did.
Poster boards.
Oh, yes, I did. Oh my
Mhm.
God.
And
yeah. We finally saw the actual footage.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been floating around for so long. I was
For
like,
like-
wait, I did.
yeah.
I was like, wait, that's
I know.
old. I didn't remember that, but yes. Oh my God.
So that was
yes.
on last night, and then Cynthia was on Watch What Happens Live. We'll get into that. Also, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion started, and I think we're starting to understand what led to Garcelle's walk off the reunion set and ultimately the show, which I'm personally sad about because I love me some Garcelle.
I love Garcelle. Oh my
she's
God.
she's everything. You know, she really is the full
is.
package.
She is. Oh, I'm going to miss her so much.
I
on
know.
the
Yeah.
show.
And the global economy is in a free fall, so there's
Yeah.
that.
That's fine.
So I've heard.
Let's start with a break, and then we'll get into all of these. Be right back. When Brock and I are at home, we love to make food. And maybe let me rephrase that. He loves to make food, and I love when he makes food for me. I especially love when he makes anything with our new Hero Bread shipment that we just got. It's nice and fresh. It's fluffy. We got bagels this time. Our daughter loves them. I love them. That's like my go-to breakfast. I love a bagel with some cream cheese, but the Hero Bread bagels, not only do they last forever, but they are so freaking good. The Hawaiian rolls, don't get me started. Also, their tortillas. We will make burritos, quesadillas, eat it by itself, tacos. You name it, we'll make it because Hero Bread's taste and texture, I don't even know where to begin. It's nothing shy of perfect, okay? It's ultra low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and they're all high in fiber. So you don't feel bad while you're eating either the bread, the bagels, or the tortillas. The Hero Classic Plain Bagel, it has only 4 grams of net carbs, 0 grams of sugars, and 19 grams of protein. Okay, sign me up. Thank you. No compromises, just flavor. Get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your next savory breakfast sandwich, late night grilled cheese, or, Family Taco Tuesday, okay? Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code GOODASGOLD at checkout. That's GOODASGOLD at HERO.co. But when Brock and I don't feel like cooking, I am so thankful that I can open up the fridge and have my Factor meals right there, ready to go in 2 minutes, okay? Make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. It's like eating well has never been this easy. All you do, you heat it up and you enjoy it. It gives you more time to do whatever you want. Comes delivered straight to your door, always fresh, never frozen. Factor knows what's up. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. The weather is nice and the Factor meals, they arrive ready to eat. Perfect for any active lifestyle. If you're a busy mom, if you're a working person of any sort, you don't even have to be a parent. You're just busy. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor more this spring. Factor meals pack in the flavor with none of the fuss. You can choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and so much more. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Get started at factormeals.com/goodasgold50 off and use code goodasgold50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code goodasgold50 off at factormeals.com/goodasgold50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. All right, so before we get into all of this, actually, we kind of have a big week coming up. We have the Valley premiere party coming up this week. By the time this airs, we'll have already been there. So we're all going.
Yes.
Do we have our outfits yet?
I do.
I do not, but
I do not either.
I have an extra dress because I bought a bunch of stuff while I was in New York, and there's one dress I haven't worn. It'd be different though because it would not be my normal black. It would be like hot pink.
Oh, I love that.
Do it.
Please do it.
Okay.
I'm doing something different too. I'm doing blue instead of black.
Okay.
So call me crazy.
Ooh.
But mine's like an extra birthday outfit. Well, so I was like, I had between two. So I'm feeling confident about what I'm wearing.
Okay. Yeah, I still have no idea. I have glam booked. That's about as far as I've gotten. But then the show starts next week. I have not seen the first episode yet. You haven't. Kiki has.
Yes. And I'm going to rewatch. I was actually going to rewatch it last night. I'm going to rewatch it again because there was so much packed in that when we did the promo, like with the Valley promo, which also I think we could talk about. I was talking to Danny Pellegrino.
Yeah.
And we were reminding each other, like, oh my God, that also happened in the first episode. Oh my God. Yeah, there was so much. We're like, we need to go back and rewatch.
By that, you mean?
Tell us everything. We're just like,
I'm not getting thrown off the screener list. That is a coveted list, and I want to remain on it.
Did I look good in white in the background?
No comment.
Okay, so what is it like for you? Because, you're not technically a cast member, but you're friends with most of the cast, and you're around a lot. So because I feel like, okay, so let's go back even further. So when the Valley season 1 talks were first happening, this was kind of in the in-between with Vanderpump between seasons 9 and 10 and just deciding for me, like, do I want to join season 1 full-time? I met with everyone. Or, if season 10 gets picked up, like, am I going to pick a season 1 show or a season 10 successful show? Obviously, I stayed on Vanderpump and then I filmed an episode, or I filmed a little bit more, just you didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But now this season, I'm a friend, I'm involved a little more, but you've kind of been around since the beginning as well.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, the same thing. It's like, I feel like there's a laundry list of people, that get thrown out there. And we talk to, how it is. You talk to producers a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I was talking, there was like, they were asking me about Stassi and different people. So I think it was like a different iteration of what ended up being the Valley, which is like, oh, we're going to focus on couples and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very interesting to be like, they kind of clocked me. They were like, we know that you were the makeup artist. We know everyone's secrets because we know how glam works.
Right.
And they're like, so how do you navigate this now that you're not a makeup artist and you're friends with people? And then there's like, little feuds and like your girls are fighting and like what, how do you handle it? And of course I had lots to say during that time. I was like, 2020 was a crazy year. There's lots of crazy stuff that's happened since then with my health and then with my, just feeling better and just like getting out there and hanging out with everybody. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like, even though I'm not a cast member, I'm not going to not show up to things for my friends because I guess that's a part that's, it is reality in the sense like I'm not going to miss Janet's birthday because I'm not getting paid to go to Janet's birthday.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I'm always going to be a part of my friend's life, whether that's on camera or not.
I won't be at the birthday unless I'm just kidding.
Naomi Campbell, $10,000 before I get out of bed.
Like when you were talking to them, were they looking at different ways to introduce you, or were you going to come in as like a specific friend of, or like the friend of the group, or like how was it?
It definitely felt like they were kind of like, oh, you're like the gay best friend who's friends with pretty much the whole gang.
Yeah.
And then obviously there were some newer people that I'd met. Nia, who was like a new friend to me at the time, and Michelle, I had. Well, I guess now we all know about Michelle's infamous director thing. Like I knew that since before, for years.
Oh,
like
really?
we talked about that in Britney's swimming pool. Like, so I just, they kind of clocked me as like, oh, you know a lot. And then when I started to blabber, they're like, oh, you know a lot. But I don't know. It was just like, I feel like Bravo does like to, it's still casting a TV show. So I feel like they were like, you might be the gay, like you might be one of the gays that will bring in that kind of throws around some gossip, but also can bring people together, which I think I'm good at.
And were you and Zach friends at all before this, or did you meet like while this was happening? Like
Zach and I, we've always been friendly through Britney. So I started doing like Britney and Kristen's makeup, and he was like, obviously he had moved from Kentucky when Britney moved and got on Vanderpump Rules. And so he was around a lot, and like when I was doing glam, he would be there and stuff like that. I don't know if we've ever hung out one-on-one or anything. The gayborhood can be a little weird. There can be some cattiness and some stuff like that. I don't know if it was ever outright, brought up, but I was always doing a job. Like I had, I was like, well, I'm here to work, like on Vanderpump especially. And so I don't, so there was no bad blood at the time or anything. And it was just,
Is there bad blood now?
I mean, listen, I just have a set of standards and ethics and morals that I abide by. And I'm not going to let something like TV or the opportunity to be on TV interfere with that.
Right.
I'm not one of those people who's like, I would never do reality TV. I'm above it. Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I choose my friends wisely. I've lived in LA for 15 years. I've done a lot of jobs in LA, and I know that there are really great people here
Mhm.
and not great people.
Yeah.
So I surround myself with the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had a good dinner group
Yeah.
for your
that was
birthday.
so
That was
fun.
good.
And even with that, I was like, I'm not, when you're inviting a group of people, and I did a lot of stuff with other friends. Like I have introverted friends who don't want to, come to a big giant dinner. And then I have like my party friends. So after I'm like, let's party. I know you'll come out on a Sunday night at the Naughty Pig,
Yeah.
on Sunset Boulevard. Oh yeah, baby. But so it's like, so my dinner friends, like for the Chateau dinner, I was like, I'm not going to exclude anyone. I'm not going to be the mean girl who does that. I'm going to be like, I am mature. I am like, this is my 37th birthday. And I'm just going to extend the invite to everyone who I feel, who's been really close with me and supported me through the rough times and the dark times and then all the good and fun times. And so I was just like, I'll extend everyone the invite who I'm close to. And if they're not comfortable, no shade. I understand. We can do something separately in that mindset. So, I don't know, like if it was a big deal for you like that to have you there and Ariana there.
I mean, it was nice, actually. It forced us in a room at an intimate table together and have conversations.
Yeah.
Kind of surface level. But, it was great to see her and just hang out.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And it means a lot to me, obviously, to be like, okay, my friends can put aside, any weirdness or awkwardness to come together to celebrate me. And I think that's important.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you all got to Naughty Pig and like seeing the two of you walk in, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was like, it warmed my heart because it was like, I remember the two of you when you were like, on Vanderpump. And it was like so cute to see like, and then I thought, was Kristen at your dinner? Or because I didn't know if she was, I didn't see her in the picture. So she wasn't.
No, I did not extend. I didn't feel comfortable extending the invite. It's nothing, it's not so personal. It just goes back to, I think Kristen and I have been through so much together. Like she was there during my dark times. I was there during her dark times. And I think we've had a long friendship. And I really admire how she can be such a good friend, but I also think, with us, there has to be some accountability with certain actions. And obviously, like after season 1 of The Valley, with how people treated Janet while she was 7 months pregnant, I'm very protective of my friend Janet, obviously. So especially when she's growing my little nephew inside of her. So I think that, it rubs me the wrong way a little bit if someone doesn't... If you can't kind of own up to maybe I made a mistake. And I feel like I hold my friends to a standard where I'm not afraid to be like, hey, you fucked up. Like you need to say, you need to say sorry. You need to kind of, that's a good friendship to me, to be able to call someone out, not in a mean way, but just be like, hey, this is not right. If you were to do something super insane, I would be like, Scheana, what the hell? So
no, that's why, I mean, just the White Lotus of it all. That's why to me, the dynamic between the 3-girl group was so, I was so into that because at the end of it, it's just like, there's a friendship here and I should be able to like say certain things and all of this and we'll come back. Like we are always going to be friends. But like, if we don't have a strong enough friendship where I can call you out on this bullshit, I don't know if we have a real friendship.
And you need that. You can't surround yourself with just yes men.
Yeah.
And I do know people who do that. And if that's how you want to live your life, that's fine. But whenever people say that about me, I'm like, that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, my husband and my mother are not yes men.
Yeah.
Like, they literally are the first
Definitely not
people
your
to call
mom.
me on my shit. So I'm like, that's such a joke when people say that about me. Because I'm like, my sister, oh my God. I mean, like, if I do, it's just, I will get like a death stare, So the people closest in my life are definitely not yes men.
Yeah.
Well, all those like memes, like the little things on Instagram that say like, oh, like me agreeing to like bury the body with my best friend because we're both crazy. Like, I love that that theory and mindset, but like, no, like I actually, like I have a standard of what I expect. And if you're going to kill somebody as a horrific example, but like on all those memes, it's like, I'm right there with the shovel with you, girl. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to say, what the hell happened? Why are we burying a body? What did you do? So that's, so, but I mean, and again, I feel I don't have bad blood to Kristen at all. If we were in a better place, I would have absolutely extended the invite to her. I just think, it's maybe a work in progress. Maybe it's done. I don't know. You've known her for forever, so you probably know how she operates longer.
Yeah.
I will say it sucks though, because our friendship was so long and we've just been through so much, and she really showed up for me during such hard times.
No,
and
like
I don't wanna...
Kristen is a good person. She's got a good heart. She has good intentions. She does struggle with the accountability and the apologies at times. I feel like it'll be me, just like always being the bigger person sometimes. But then I see similarities with Kristen and I, where I know people want to joke that like about the whole empath thing and like she's not an empath, but like she actually, maybe her version of it or definition is a little different, but like she does feel very deeply.
Truly.
Like she really will like take on someone else's pain. So like that is kind of the definition of an empath, And so I saw her this weekend. It was not on my bingo card to see Jax and Kristen in the same day this weekend.
Oh,
that just happened randomly.
Okay. So Jax too.
Our friend Courtney Berman's baby shower, Kristen was there. She ended up sitting with myself, my mom, and Summer, and like we had a great day together. I walked her to her car. I again apologized for things that I've said on this podcast, for her feeling like I've shown up for, Allie in ways I didn't show up for her, and just trying to explain myself that, the person I was 10 years ago is not the person I am today. And if you want to keep holding me to the person I was, that's not fair, because I have grown. I also was hearing many different versions of stories than you told me one, James tells me another, this person tells me another. There was a lot going on back in the day, and Kristen and I were not like me and Ariana back in the day, So it was hard, and it wasn't as easy to show up for her 100% blind loyalty as it is for me with Allie. With Allie, when that shit happened, done. You tell me when to unfollow. I'm following your lead because I want to make your life peaceful and happy. So I said a lot of that to her, and I feel like she heard me. We hugged it out, gave her baby a kiss, like I want her to have just peace in these last couple months of pregnancy and motherhood. And, it's a lot. You got all these hormones pumping through you.
Yeah.
But then I go to a birthday party after that for a kid from Summer's school, and Summer and Cruz are in the same class.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And Jax was there, and I'm just like, there, Jax. Jax Hole, shall I call you?
Like, sorry, just made you Jax Hole
So
again. Okay.
I just literally say hi.
Yeah.
Was
and then
he,
I sit Summer.
Friendly?
Right. He was friendly. I mean,
Okay.
he's in front of, there's like 40 parents there.
Yeah, so
I
he's gotta
sit
be
Summer
good
right
boy.
next to Cruz. I have her doing arts and crafts with him. I'm like, so how are you, Jax? Like, are we going to ignore each other? Are we going to are you going to say anything? You going to call me out for anything on the podcast? But he was just like, I'm good. Can't complain. I was like, cool. Take a picture of the kids. I was like, Cruz, let's get a picture for your mommy. So we each take a picture of them, and then Cruz ended up falling asleep, and so Jax was like, oh, we got it. It was like right before cake too. I'm like, damn it, like 1 minute. And so Jax was like, he shows me the picture, because I walked in and I was like, wait, and he's holding him and he's asleep. And he's like, no, literally, he just passed out. And so he's taking him, and he's like, I'll tell Britney you said hi. And I mean, I could tell Britney hi. I do tell Britney hi all the time. But I thought that was nice. So I was just like, yeah, please do. And then I sent Britney the picture, and I'm like, let's us get the kids together soon. And that was it. I mean, we're in front of all the parents from school. He's not going to be an asshole. But I just kind of wanted him to ask me something or say something, because, it's like I'll get a random text, and then I see you face to face, and you're not going to say anything to me.
I think he texted me on my birthday and was like, or maybe Jason, and he was just he was like, why am I not invited? And I was like, huh.
Delulu.
Let me think about that.
Where to begin?
Interesting.
I really don't want to be mean about it, but so I just, I was like, well, I just did the girls and gays dinner. Sorry. Unless you want to let me know you're
Switch
bisexual.
teams.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Britney and Jax, I mean, I think we all just heard Britney's, her bar is not going forward.
I did just see
and
that.
She talked about how she had already started purchasing lighting and stuff like that, and then I guess they sold Rocco's.
Interesting.
Did anybody...
I have not talked to her about it yet. I saw Vanderpump Rules Party posted something, and I didn't want to ask Britney directly, because also if that's a
I think she
subject,
talked about it on her pod.
Okay.
I saw a clip, something of her pod, but the last I remember talking about it was her talking about the wallpapers and showing us mock-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably a shot. I mean, it sounded from, again, I haven't talked to her since then either.
No,
so,
I was just going to wait till I saw her in person again
Yeah.
because I was just with her at his birthday dinner. But I'm like, I'm not going to text me like, oh, wait, is the bar not opening? And then it's like something she's sad about. So I didn't want to bring it up.
Okay.
But I did see that. And then I asked Janet and she's like, yeah, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, I did see though that there's like new management or it's like got taken over by someone.
It sounds like someone purchased the bar and then, that deal wasn't part of the purchase. And so, but they hadn't like let her know and stuff. So I was curious because I'm like, she had said something like, she'd purchased lighting and all this stuff. I'm like, did she purchase it? Like, is that out of pocket? I hope not. Like,
I hope not.
I hope not.
Because I was kind of hoping the Valley premiere would be at her new bar.
I know, right?
know.
I mean, hopefully I am a strong believer in everything happens for a reason. So hopefully, this was just not meant to be for her and not her path. And like, honestly, like, does she really want to be coming over the hill to WeHo to a bar like several times a week?
No, we got to stay on that side of the hill.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally.
It's such a windy road.
Stay in the valley.
Okay, so I want to get into the White Lotus finale and all of that. We're going to take one more little break and then so much to get into. Be right back. So I know you guys have heard me talk about this before, but when you walk into my house, it might look like you're walking into a commercial on TV that you've seen for Wayfair because I have something in every single room from Wayfair. When you walk into my house, you'll see an area rug, 2 swivel chairs, a beautiful mirror, all from Wayfair. My bed, the artwork in my studio. I've got an office chair in the studio, outdoor furniture, a coffee table. I mean, the list goes on and on and on because Wayfair has something for every home, for every person, and for every budget. And they'll even come and do the whole white glove service thing and set it up for you if that's what your little heart desires and the wizard can't grant it for you. Wayfair is the best kept secret for all things renovation. Whether you're making a little update, a little, new kitchen cabinet, or doing a full renovation, Wayfair has stylish and quality home improvement products for every budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your spring home goals with endless inspiration for every space and budget. Whether you need a light refresh or maybe you want a complete spring cleaning organization overhaul. It's free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. You can find all of your home improvement must-haves, flooring, light fixtures, faucets, the hardware, all in one convenient place. Literally whatever you need, Wayfair has it. Shop the best selection of home improvement online. Get renovating with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All right, are you looking for something absolutely delicious to drink? Because if so, then Simply Pop is for you. This is a new fruit-forward bevy of prebiotic sodas made with 6 grams of prebiotic fiber to support gut health and vitamin C and zinc to support immune function. And Simply Pop contains the same real fruit flavors you know and love and no added sugar, which makes for a soda that even a juice would drink. Now, my personal favorite flavor is pineapple mango. Anything pineapple and mango, like, please give it to me. I also love strawberry, but there's just something about the pineapple mango that just does it for me. It's a juicy prebiotic soda. Say that with me. A juicy prebiotic soda. Doesn't that sound so delish? Well, it is. Okay. I still can't get over the fact that it has no sugar added. It's like you can't beat that when you're getting this incredible flavor. When you add the 6 grams of prebiotic fiber to support gut health, like, come on. Okay, that's incredible. Paired with zinc and vitamin C to support immune health. I mean, you can't beat this. Sip on the juicy side of life. Find out where you can try Simply Pop at cokeurl.com/simplypop. That's cokeurl.com/simplypop. Okay, so as we know, I'm behind. I have not watched White Lotus yet. It is top of my list of a new show to binge.
What do you mean yet? Like any of it?
Any of it. I know, Jared. I know, but I'm not going to start season 3 without going back to season 1.
Wait, you haven't seen any?
None of it. I know.
These guys are trying to
I
murder
know,
me.
right?
there are too many housewives on Bravo
That's true.
that I don't have the time. The
Yeah.
Kardashians came back. There's
love
just
'em.
like, so I'm caught up on Bravo.
Yeah.
I'm caught up on Kardashians. I'm hoping that I now have time for a new binge. I wanted to go back to Salt Lake and do not even a rewatch because I've never watched it from the beginning, but I'm going to do White Lotus first.
Okay.
Good choice.
So we'll do a full White Lotus episode once I'm finally caught up. But
Okay.
I did see a clip of Carrie Coon's character Lori from the finale where she's at dinner with her 2 childhood friends. So paraphrasing a bit, but she had said, I just feel like as you get older, you have to justify your life, and your choices. And then she says, I have no belief system. Work was my religion, but I lost my belief there. And then I tried love, and that was a painful religion. Being a mother, that didn't save me either. Had an epiphany today. I don't need religion or God to give my life meaning because time gives it meaning. We started this life together. We're going through it apart, but we're still together. And I look at you guys and it feels meaningful. And that is all I have seen of White Lotus, okay? I watched that, but I'm like, that actually resonated pretty deep with me because as an aging millennial, almost
Don't say
40,
aging.
I am. My face feels it. My finger feels it. I feel it.
What's going on with the finger?
I don't know if it's
Let me
carpal
hold it like
tunnel,
Ariana Grande.
arthritis. I'm going to
Mm.
get my nails done today. I'm going to get a manicure and a hand massage because I have to start signing a lot of books.
Oh, yeah.
Like 2,000 pages.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to do like a little bit of a series on Instagram where
You
I'm
have a
like,
book coming out, Scheana?
so mygoodsidebook.com. But no, seriously, I've put this off. I've had the pages there for months. They're due in 2 weeks. And my hand has been messed up since Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And I just have not made the time to go to the doctor because it doesn't bother me for a few days and then it's really bad. But it's just this finger and just right here.
Interesting.
Exactly where I need to sign.
Yeah,
So
probably just a little arthritis.
yeah, we'll be following along that journey of almost
Pop some
aging.
Celebrex
But
and ibuprofen, you're good.
going back to Lori, on paper, I have a good life, as is this woman. Successful career, she's a mother, she's beautiful, but she's like, does she feel fulfilled? Does she feel like she's found her purpose or like it's too late to find her purpose? And I felt like this was such a beautiful monologue that really captures that midlife struggle because I feel like it's midlife.
Mm-hmm.
40s is midlife.
Yeah.
And it's like the struggle between dreams, goals, desires of our youth and no lines on the
And
face.
happiness.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just like peace and joy and all that stuff that we seek when we get older. And watching that, I'm like, okay, did this just put her, first of all, yes, it resonated with me. But then also I'm like, did this just put her as like a shoo-in for the Emmy?
I was going to say that was an
With
Emmy
this
nomination
monologue?
monologue.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Iconic.
drama
sure.
kids across the country will be using that for their like auditions.
Oh.
Yeah, that monologue.
I was
forever.
repeating it at like immediately rewatched and rewound. It.
I
was just, like,
rewatched it several times and I'm
Mhm.
like, it made me want to watch the show even more because I'm like, how did we get here? Is this character in season 1 or 2? You don't have to tell me, but I'm going to go back and watch it all. So, yeah, do we think that she's a
Oh yeah,
shoo-in?
I mean, she's now one of my like top actresses, and I didn't
Yeah.
even watch any of the other things that she was in. People are all like, "Oh, from Gilded Age," and
I
all
love
this
her in the
stuff.
Gilded
I don't
Age.
watch.
I didn't see that
Yeah,
either.
I
And
don't
The
watch those.
Leftovers, they say that was like one of the maybe the top 2 TV performances of the 21st century.
So I
They
started
listed her as
Leftovers.
that.
I didn't finish it, so it was like she wasn't in my like, and now she's like
Yeah.
one of my number 1 actresses. And yeah, I mean, everything about that, I was like, I just felt so in my core, especially like the older you get, you have to justify. I'm like, I'm tired of justifying so many things. It's like, yes, I chose not to have kids, or yes, I chose to like
Mhm.
have a 4th try at a new career and all of these things. And like, you do feel like, am I doing the right thing? And like the mistakes that you when you're around people that are closest to you, you start seeing like the mistakes you made and all those things,
Mhm.
but it doesn't matter because those people, you're just, again, happy to be at the table with them because you're just like, everything we do just feels so deep, no matter how inconsequential it is. And yeah, I loved everything about it.
And it was so crazy because you'll see in context too, they are such a toxic female friend group, at least at the
Oh, I
beginning.
can't relate to that at all.
Yeah. Something you won't understand, but you just have to try to put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
So that really resolved it in a way that felt satisfying, which a lot of the finale was not satisfying in a lot of ways.
So unsatisfying.
But yeah, it was a powerful moment of watching these three friends who are all in that same area, like middle-aged, whatever.
Yeah.
And, one was focused on her beauty and one was focused on her family and her, her perfect life. And Carrie Coon's Lori was just kind of like, where do I fit in? And then that epiphany she had was like, okay. And it kind of, even though they are still such toxic, crazy, ladies, they're
Good
still
TV.
it makes good TV. They should really do a spin-off of it.
The writing around them,
I don't know.
The writing around that group was just so good because it was just so many little subtleties. Because again, like every time one left the room, they're talking about each other, and you see that a lot throughout the season. But then it's like as they got to an end, you see her almost being like, there they are again, and she like assumes they're talking about it, and then she realizes they're just having fun with each other in the pool, and it's so subtle, but so like that. When you're in a group of three, that's just how it is, and everyone knows that, and like when you're not around, they're probably talking shit about you,
right?
But the older you get, you kind of start realizing that like when you're not around, sometimes they're talking about you, but like in a positive way.
Yes.
Like the older you get, like your friends are like, oh my god, we were talking about you the other day and saying like how awesome it was when you did that, and so that's where I think they will eventually get to. But yeah,
okay, so they've done Hawaii, Sicily, and Thailand.
Yes.
Where would you like to see the next season go?
I want ice. I want a ski lodge.
Oh,
yeah, I
that's
want like
a good one.
But not an American. I want like Nordic, like a
Like
ski,
Iceland
Swiss
or
Alps.
like
like Switzerland.
Swiss.
Is that Swiss?
Swiss Alps?
Yeah, is that
Switzerland.
Switzerland?
I
Or is
sure.
that Norway?
I think so.
I
Oh
don't
wait,
know.
actually,
I don't know where
Let
the
me
Swiss
think.
Alps
Let's
are.
count European
Geography
countries.
is terrible. I don't even.
I think it was in 3rd grade, and I skipped that grade, so no idea.
Anyway, somewhere cold. What about you?
No, I like that actually. Now it's stuck in my head. Yeah, I want that too.
Yeah.
Cold
Yeah.
ski lodge, something along those lines.
What about like a safari, like opposite of?
Do you know the character who plays Guy Talk? He says Mike White does not like cold at all. So he says I think it's going to be a safari season.
Oh,
You've never seen a single episode.
I know,
of
right?
That is top of my bucket list. Brock and I have been looking at locations for his next Ironman, and I'm like, South Africa is looking kind of nice.
safari
A
is
safari
amazing.
is top of my bucket list, and Summer wants to go on a safari too.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
You been?
I did it. I did do that.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Jealous. Did you feed a rhino?
No, I did not. We did not get close to like those animals will kill you. Like hippos are very dangerous.
They are.
They're very, very
What
dangerous.
about that little one, Mukdang or
They're
whatever?
very
his name
dangerous.
is?
That's why I wouldn't even do so. You
Mukdang.
can do a dry safari and a
Okay.
wet safari. Dry, you're obviously just in your
That's
Jeep or whatever
for
driving
me.
around. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the wet safari, not the reason I didn't do it, but if you're like in those little canoes, so the way hippos kill you is like they basically like hide under the water and then they flip your canoe over and then
eat
stomp you to death
Oh
under
my
the
God.
river. That's how they kill you.
Oh
So
my
like,
god!
I am not going
Dry
on
safari.
Yeah.
Dry safari.
I thought they were vegetarians.
well, I don't know if they're eating you. They just stomp you
Oh, they're
under the
just mad
water.
at
Yeah,
you.
they just flip you over. They're just angry. They're hungry, angry hippos.
Oh my
Wow.
God, hungry hippo.
Angry hippos. Okay, well, White Lotus wasn't the only appointment television this week. We also got to see the very long-awaited showdown between Kenya and Britt that led to Kenya's exit on Real Housewives of Atlanta. After last week's episode, we discussed that we felt Kenya had been vindicated. Do we still feel that's the case?
So I actually felt that way all the way, even through watching this episode, because I was still just like,
Mhm.
you threatened me with a pistol. I'm coming at you full force. Then I was talking to somebody. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it, but the information that I received that gave me more context to what was on those poster boards,
Mhm.
I am now like, oh, that was terrible. She should have absolutely not done that.
Ooh.
I get why she had to be excused because there is no way around it, especially with Bravo, right? Sort of like the things with like Raquel and the revenge porn,
Mhm.
and obviously
Mhm.
Caroline Manzo's boss, who isn't revenge porn, but still sexually related. They're like, no, if it is in any sexual against some other woman, we have
Yeah.
to just like cut ties. So it makes sense. And I feel bad because Kenya, I do love Kenya, and
Yeah.
I wanted. She spent $400,000 of her daughter's, part of her daughter's education money to open the salon and make it. She was dedicating this event to her daughter.
Yeah.
I wanted to succeed, but like Cynthia was right. Like this was just not the way to go about it. And she started so strong.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, she said, I wanted to do some investigation into this woman that was so concerned about me, which is true.
Yeah, the dust.
why was, pay her dust.
Like, it was good.
Well, and the thing is, she should have paid her dust. She should have paid her dust, and that should have been the end of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But my whole thing is this. Okay, everyone's like kind of coming at Kenya, and they're saying like, it shouldn't have gone this far. But she did show up with overblown poster boards with pictures on them. She's not going to Kinko's and doing this herself.
Where did they get printed
Someone,
off?
either in the production staff or her assistant, had to know that this was going to be happening beforehand.
Glued it on a poster board.
So did they think it was a good idea at first?
Yeah, that's a good point. I did not even, And you never think of like, how did all these giant posters of this this woman being exposed come to existence?
Yeah, she did not do that
Kinko's?
herself.
Yeah. Oh no.
I need to go interview the person at Kinko's. They're like, where did these get done? Who came in?
Atlanta Kinko's. I share your sentiment. I think she went too far, and then it's just, you never want to exploit someone, another woman in a sexual light like that. It just.
And again, the reason I was on the fence was because I was like, if somebody chooses to do, adult film work or whatever, that's their choice, and I don't judge them for it. If it's out there though, I don't understand why it's a big deal. What I learned is it wasn't that. Those pictures were not related to that.
Oh, like it was like an ex or something?
It was like something that should not. It was on the internet years ago, and she had tried to get rid of it. And so whoever found it, I don't know how they found it and somehow got it to Kenya, as like I don't know if Kenya even understood what she was probably looking at. Like maybe they were like, look at what we found. And maybe Kenya didn't even know where these pictures came from.
Damn.
But from what I understand where these pictures came from, it was just not good, and she should have not had them.
Wasn't
not
like
been
from
showing
her
them.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. Like it was not, it was not from her video vixen days. It was like, but like, it was also, I'm sorry, it was just like crazy to hear Cynthia being like, I mean, I didn't want to be looking at that girl sucking dick or whatever she said. I was like, wait, what? I know we were looking at, I didn't know we were looking at full on
right, because it was blurred. But when she said that, I was like, now I'm picturing it.
Like, and there's people in the audience. Like, I want to interview the people who were at this event, who had to be quiet all this time because obviously they signed NDAs. But like, now I want you to talk about it. Like, what the hell?
Let's get them on Scheananigans. Bring them in. And then as the scene ended, Bravo puts up a message that due to the events playing out in the episode, production decided not to film with Kenya anymore this season. They pulled all of her confessionals and all of that. Do you think they made the right move?
Yeah. I mean, they had to, knowing what I know now.
Right. Because, I mean, it's tricky. It's like what she did is wrong. And it's one thing to bring up her past, but it's another to expose it in that way.
It's such a public way, too.
But I also do want to know, because Andy said on Watch What Happens Live, like they did an investigation into both. Because at the end of the day, Britt did still bring up pistols.
Right.
And so what was the investigation into that? Because I think a lot of people are like, yes, Kenya needed to be excused, but so should have Britt. Because why would you bring that up? Especially like on Atlanta, where we've talked about gun violence. I think Marlo's nephew died from gun violence. There was and so we've seen gun violence happen. And so it should have been something that was addressed seriously, because obviously Kenya was concerned about it, as she should have been. So, Britt obviously felt remorseful, but I'm sure she was, because obviously production said like, oh, we got to investigate this because why did you bring up the gun? But and if Kenya had just ignored Britt, paid her dust, as she said, I feel like the audience would have 100% been on Kenya's side.
100%.
She's gone with the wind, fabulous. She is. Was she an OG?
She's the longest standing. Yeah. Well, she was not on season 1 though.
Okay, but she
came like season. I don't know what season.
I feel like since I've been in the Bravo's sphere, Bravo-verse, whatever, she's always been there.
Yeah,
she's kind of like a Tamara Judge. Like, even though Tamara wasn't in season 1, it's like you can't imagine.
I remember meeting Portia at my first Upfronts event.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and that was forever ago.
Yeah.
Like 2012, 13, like so long ago. But
that was tough though. It was a tough Bravo watch.
Sure. It was sad because, and the crazy thing is we haven't even seen Phaedra come now. Like, so now we have a whole other half of Atlanta where Phaedra is introduced because Kenya left. And so, like, what's that going to bring?
Yeah.
Chaos.
Can't wait. And then going into Beverly Hills, we're finally getting to see why Garcelle walked off the reunion and subsequently quit the show, which bummer, as we said in the beginning. throughout the season, there wasn't really a negative storyline about Garcelle. So it was kind of a bit of a shock, you know, to see the teaser and the trailer of her walking off, followed by her announcement that she's leaving the show after 5 years. Do we think the focus on Garcelle at the reunion thus far was warranted?
I mean, I think that they had to come for her because she has the most questions for the cast, right? She's going to ask Kyle all the questions about Morgan.
Right.
She was the one that was asking Erica all the questions about Tom and that whole situation. And so they're just kind of like, you keep asking questions, but what are you sharing about yourself? And look, she has a good point. Like, look, I don't have these things going on. Now, for Erica to say she wasn't interesting is wrong.
That was mean.
And I wish that Garcelle, what she said to Sutton backstage about being like, oh, what, because I don't have criminal activity and stuff. I wish she had said that on stage. Now,
Right.
people are like, she should have said that on stage. But I'm one of those people like Garcelle where I think of what I want to say after I leave
I'm
the room.
the same way.
So I think Garcelle just had a moment where she realized, oh, damn, I should have said that on stage.
Yeah.
Can we go back and tape? Like, I
Right.
wanna go say
And like
that.
Erica Jane is the Lala. Like Lala totally would have dropped that. Like, I wish you were more interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she's said some stuff like that
Yeah.
to certain people. But I will say Kyle did make some good points. I feel like for many, many years, I've related to Kyle so much, and there's so many similarities that I see with whether it's an edit with working with the same producers or if Kyle and I just are similar personalities in a way. But she made a lot of good points when she was saying how Garcelle essentially called her a bad friend for not stepping up to defend Sutton on the boat when neither Garcelle nor Jennifer Tilly stepped up. And it's like, why is this shit being put on Kyle? Why is Kyle held to a higher standard? You know, and she's like, that's not my fucking problem. And I'm like, girl,
That's a good
I
point,
get you.
Mhm.
And like, I feel like sometimes Dorit is Lala, and it like takes me back a few seasons where I'm like, oh my God, like I'm Kyle. I relate. And I've always just felt an extra soft spot for Kyle because I feel like, you know, she's an OG on the show and all of these new women come in and then people try to come for her and whatever. And it's like, it's not fair if you're going to hold her to a higher standard. It's not. And I hate that shit.
I think the argument between Garcelle and Kyle, I actually think both of them were right.
Yeah.
Because, like, yes, I do believe that she is being held to a different standard. But at the same time, I think Garcelle was right of like, if you introduce this person in your life and we're not allowed to ask questions
Right,
about
I
them,
get
like,
that.
That was
that's-
wild to me.
You know?
And especially throwing in the kid, like your son didn't film. It's just two different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everyone, as we know, like from back in Vanderpump, if you start dating someone, they're basically on the show.
Uh-huh.
And that just doesn't apply to kids. You know
Right.
what I mean? And even if it's an adult child or whatever. So I think Garcelle's also an amazing audience surrogate, asking the questions that we all have on our
Yeah,
mind.
Totally.
And I think it shook Kyle probably a little much to be like, why you keep saying stuff about being a
She
lesbian?
didn't sign up for the show this season.
Yeah.
It's like, but whether it was a favor or not, I'm like, okay, I see that side too. But then it's like, I get with Kyle where it's like, you want to protect this person, whatever
Yes.
they are to you, your best friend, you love this person, you want to protect them. They did it for you as a favor, which I've brought people onto the show and it didn't end up so well maybe for them, but it's like, you know, and they're just trying to support you. And then they're like, actually, this is not for me. I don't want this life.
Mhm.
So it's like you want to respect that person's privacy. And I'm sure the internet did go crazy with Morgan. And she's just like, yo, I'm just trying to make music, live my
Mhm.
life, get some tattoos, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Talk with that thick accent.
You know?
And it's hard, like, you know, obviously the more the cast has gone on for several seasons, you do start having pacts with people you're close about.
Totally.
Please don't bring this up on camera, right? And
Mhm.
so, you know, I think while Kyle had that pact maybe with like Sutton because they were closer, Garcelle's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not part of the Fox Sports vibe. So I have to stick by these pacts so
Yeah.
I can bring it up. And so again, but I don't agree with Garcelle that Kyle doesn't share her life because Kyle does share so much about her
much.
life. And, you know, but she has to, we want more because again, we're used to that because you've shared
Yeah.
so much. Well, we want this extra part too.
And
And
you
I-
never want to push anyone out of the closet.
No.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like
of course
if that's
not.
what the case is,
Yeah.
you would never want to. And that's where it gets a little iffy when
Mhm.
Garcelle's like, you be a lesbian if you want, you know, like
Yeah.
in that one scene when she said, it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then she's like, no, I didn't mean it. And it's like, okay, well, who else are you telling that they could be a lesbian
Yeah.
at this table?
Yeah.
Probably the only person who's been, you know, linked to
Right.
a woman since her divorce or separation.
Yeah. And it's like, I get it when, you know, we've agreed to sign up on this show to give 100% of our lives. But sometimes you just can't give 100%, or at least not yet. And this is actually something I talk about in the book, some things that I've held back from discussing on the show that maybe I wasn't ready to this season, but I was going to this season, or things that I did discuss and like the timing of it and whatnot. And I feel like you don't have to always give it all in that exact moment. Sometimes you need some time to sit back and process, well, what am I going to do in this situation? Am I going to stay? Am I going to leave? Am I going to have my kid film? There's a lot of questions that internally you could be going through. And you're like, you know what? Maybe not this season. Maybe next season, Kyle and Morgan will have a beautiful story to tell. And maybe it's just that they're best friends, maybe whatever it is. But it's like, if season 14 was not the time and place for it, like, give this woman some grace. Let her live her life. And she's giving so much. If that's only 99%, so be it. Let her have 1% of privacy because she gives so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like people just expect all of it.
And you
know?
can relate very
Absolutely.
much so. So that's a good take, a good kind of counter to, because at first I was all about, I was just fully Garcelle. I was like, oh my gosh. But then when you start to realize about, like, as a gay person, I'm like, don't, everyone has to like decide what they want to share and how they approach that totally. And I don't even want to say like, oh, Kyle needs to come out. Like, I don't even want to jump to that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like that's the funky part with the Garcelle of it all. Although she does have my favorite reunion look for sure.
She looks amazing.
Incredible. I don't know how the fuck she sat in that. It seemed like it would have just been digging in. Like sitting on all of those beads and pearls. I'm like, how are you going to sit?
Yeah.
Oh,
she did it. Looks so good.
Beautiful.
So good. All right. And then still sticking with Housewives and reality TV, one person who came forward this week to defend Garcelle and say how much of a pleasure she is to work with was our old producer, Patrick. He also worked on Beverly Hills and VPR. He shared that the crew was always excited when they got to work with her, and he couldn't say the same for all of the other ladies. But Patrick also came forward to say that he has been blackballed following his move into creating adult content. Now, I watched all of part 1 of his. I have not finished part 2. Have you guys watched it, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched both parts, and I was kind of like, I guess I was shocked mostly because as someone who works in this industry and realizes how tiny it is, I'm always like, the minute you say something, then you are officially blacklisted. Obviously, he already felt that way, but I feel like once you come against the network and say, critique them or criticize them in any way, it's kind of like, okay, you're definitely over this career, because I don't know if anyone's inviting you back anytime soon. I did feel like some of his criticisms were valid, though. I think it's stuff we hear in general is like the viewers like, why would they do this? Why would they do that? But I think like to hear that he was blacklisted because of his adult career, allegedly, that's where I was kind of like, well, that's interesting, because from what I understand, because I know people who'd worked with him, I thought that he had this career kind of for a while.
That's what I thought.
So I didn't think that they would actually blacklist him for that, because they seemed fully aware of that from what I understand.
Yeah. I mean,
what if I was like, I only know him from his adult content. Like, this is the first I've ever seen him related to Bravo. So I was shocked that he worked with Bravo ever.
Wait, seriously?
No. But when I saw, when it popped up on my feed and stuff, I did not watch the second part either.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, this is a good looking gentleman. He should get into some porn.
Right?
No, I mean, who knows? Like, it's such I think you're onto something though, because it feels like it would be very hard to blacklist someone for kind of having like an adult, like an OnlyFans or whatever.
Right. Well, I've always loved Patrick. He came to our show season 10, and he was such a great addition and so fun to work with. Season 11, as we know, was a very tough season for me, and we definitely went at it. Like, I felt so bad. There was a night where like I literally yelled at him, and I've never like yelled at my producer, but it was like he's just doing his job and really wanting to bring up the Dancing with the Stars stuff. And I was at my breaking point. It was the same day as the meditation with Tom. Brock and I were going through shit at that time, and I was just literally spent. It's like midnight. I'm in bed with Lala, and I was like, run! I just like let loose. And then I, of course, get talked to by the higher ups like you. And I was like, no. And I apologized to him. He understood.
Yeah.
But I was just like, and he said this in one of his videos, you know, where it's like the amount of money he was making compared to the amount of money we were making. And there were some other things that I actually discussed in the book. So I'm not going to get into that now. But I did feel really bad because I always liked him. And I felt like in that moment, I'm like, don't push me to do something I don't want to do. But then I think that was my moment where I'm like, when can it just be about me or whatever the fuck I said? That was because of Patrick.
That's hilarious.
He made
But
that
you know
come out of
what?
me.
I appreciate your accountability and apologizing. And that kind of goes back to like, you have to be, you know, own the mistakes you made. And if you yelled at a producer,
Yeah.
you know, you got a talking to and you apologize.
Yeah, and I
can
think
move
I
on
even
from it.
apologized that night. I mean, then they spoke to me after and I probably apologized again. But it was like, I knew in the moment, but I'm just like, come on, like, you're not the one on camera here.
Mhm.
Little did I know he was on camera to know.
I mean, yeah, he was definitely doing his own thing.
But yeah. Anyway, okay. We'll wrap this up with the Jax hole of the week.
Oh, Lordy.
We can all agree. Tariffs.
Yes.
We don't like to talk politics on this show, but there was a NBC News reporting during Trump's 2016 campaign. He asked his son-in-law, Jared, with
No relation.
finding him a new economic advisor that aligned more closely with his economic views. Jared, apparently, not to be confused with this Jared, apparently took to Amazon and searched through books on the economy until he found one where he liked the cover, co-authored by Peter Navarro. Jared then cold called and still remains as one of Trump's top economic advisors, currently serving as the senior counselor for trade and manufacturing for the president. So Peter Navarro is allegedly the driving force behind these tariffs. His main source throughout his economic books has cited an economist by the name of Ron Vera to support his views on tariffs. And it turns out that Ron Vera doesn't exist. It's just an anagram of Navarro. Ron Vera. Like,
I've been avoiding the news like the plague. So
same.
This is crazy.
I just saw a TikTok.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
talking politics on this show. It's not my thing. But the cited source was Peter Navarro himself. So this global economic crisis, you know, something that neither side of the political aisle actually wants, was brought on by a charlatan.
Yeah, by a fake.
So,
Wow.
yeah, that's going to be the Jax hole for the week. Thank you guys all for listening. Thank you, Kiki and Jared. I always love having you here, getting your hot takes on some hot topics. Make sure to listen to Kiki's Sirius XM show, Reality Checked. Follow along with The Talk of Shame and catch Jared weekly on This Side of the Hill podcast with Janet and Jason Caperna, and follow along with him at Jared Lips. And if you haven't already pre-ordered my book, My Good Side, what are you doing? Like, you know, it's available on mygoodsidebook.com. We talk about it every week. Reserve your copy. And also follow along with me. I'm going to be, per my husband, he thinks I need to post more on Instagram. And he wants me to do this series of signing books, Instagram lives, talking to people, and just being more engaged with my audience, not just on the podcast and with a casual, you know, static post here, static post there. So I'm going to try something different for the next couple weeks. I'm going to try and be more active, do some lives, obviously avoid the questions that I shouldn't answer because some of them might be in the book. And we'll see if this arthritis carpal tunnel gets better while I sign the 2,000 books that you guys have pre-ordered
Ooh.
signed copies of. But if there are still some available, I don't know. Check it out. mygoodsidebook.com. Thanks for listening and watching.
I've been searching for
Bye.
this all my